Welcome to Escape This Podcast, a show that's a mix between tabletop role-playing and escape room puzzles. This is our final episode of What Alice Found. The story is coming to its conclusion.
Woohoo!
It's getting creepy.
You know what that means? I get a holiday.
Yeah, we get a holiday. We get a little break after this.
Done.
That'll be nice. Every episode, we have guests come on and solve an escape room created by Danny. It's an escape room that's pretty much an audio-only escape room, though there'll be a few images. And this episode, we have some great guests who are gregarious and will use their guile and gusto to get good results in this escape room. It's Good Job Brain. Welcome, everybody.
Hey. Great job.
Welcome. Do each of you want to say hi and say your name so that our listeners will be able to match a name to a voice?
Of course, I'll go first. Hello, I am Karen from Good Job Brain.
And I'm Colin. Happy to be here.
I'm Dana, and I am a big, big fan of this podcast.
And I'm Chris from Good Job Brain.
Oh, wonderful. So two of you are from Good Job Brain.
And I have to say in response, I am a very big fan of the podcast Good Job Brain. It was one of the first podcasts I ever listened to, I'm pretty sure, and haven't stopped.
Yeah, look, for anybody who hasn't listened to Good Job Brain, I think it's one of the best trivia podcasts out there. Everybody listening knows how much we like trivia. Good Job Brain is just
It's the best show that gives a mix of trivia questions, mini games, and the interesting stories and facts that you need to know for trivia.
If there's an element of trivia you like, it's in Good Job Brain, and you should go and listen. It's a wonderful show, but now we're going to make them do puzzles, and puzzles are different than trivia, so we'll see how well they go.
Well.
So we always have questions for our guests based on what this show is. So for all of you, I suppose, a free-for-all of shouting over each other, what is your escape room experience in life?
Oh, Chris, please.
Okay, yeah, let me jump in. So I've done a lot of escape rooms. In fact, I was thinking about this because I knew we would have to answer this question, and I can tell you certainly that Karen and I in the late 2000s did Five Wits' thing, Tomb, out in Boston, Massachusetts, which was considered to be a precursor, actually, of the escape room business.
It must have been.
That
is early.
It is, yeah. And it's very similar, although it's a super high production value, videos and lasers and everything like that. I think they still run it. And then, in fact, I did the first escape room in the U.S., which was Scraps. Literally, I think it was called, Escape the Room. And
who would come up with a title like that? Ridiculous.
It was it was the only one, and it was we lost because it's I don't know, the scrap rooms, like the room was, so they do a lot of things. They did a lot of things in that room that they don't do anymore. That room was full of garbage. That room was full. There were literally, I swear to God, 200 little doodads in that room that were red herrings.
Wow.
There was nothing.
Oh, no.
And we had to, and the problem is also at that point, it was the first escape room. So nobody really knew that you needed to have an escape room team that goes in the room alone and does the room with your team. So we just bought, all anybody did, we bought tickets. So 4 of us went in, but there were 12 people-ish in the room. So it was us and 8 people who had no idea what they were doing. So it was literally just 12 people walking up to a shelf, picking up an item, looking at it, putting it back on the shelf. And literally, some of these people, they were standing in line behind each other, and the one person would walk away from the shelf, and the other person would go to the same shelf and look at all the same items. Finally, Tyler, one of our friends who was doing this with us, he kind of there was this box we had to unlock. Maybe this is a long-winded story, but maybe you'll enjoy this. We had to unlock this box, and it had 4 locks on it, and the final lock had to be opened with an Allen wrench. So we're screaming to everybody in the room, if you are playing with stuff, you're not looking for a little Allen wrench right now. You are not helping us. And the people at Scrap had put the Allen wrench. They had a hotel ice bucket. Again, 200 things in the room. One of them was a nondescript hotel ice bucket. Nothing on the underside of the lid. Nothing on the underside of the bucket. Nothing in the bucket. The ice bucket, if you took the top of the ice bucket and you unscrewed the lid,
Oh.
and you opened up what turned out to be a 2-part lid of this hotel ice
Oh
bucket.
no.
Masking taped to the inside of the lid was an Allen wrench. And that was how you were supposed to find the Allen wrench, by disassembling a lid of an ice bucket. We lost the room.
My
Yeah,
goodness.
that's fair.
And but it did not deter us from doing a lot more
Well
escape
done.
rooms. And I've done a lot with Karen, and we've had more success than that, certainly in the future.
And everybody, Karen obviously did a lot of rooms with Chris. You have good escape room experience outside of that scrap room.
Yeah, in my former life, pre-baby, I used to run. It was my goal to run a marathon in every state. So for a while, I was traveling a lot, and and when you're in a new place, they're usually escape rooms now they're in like almost every city. And so it was always my tradition to find an escape room at whatever city I was going to run a marathon in and do it. And I've done some amazing ones from like different corners of the country. So I think Little Rock, Arkansas, it's called Mystery House, was really good. We've done some really modern ones in New York City as well. So it's a fun friend activity. And again, like Chris said, when sometimes you're paired up with random people, it kind of takes the fun out of it. Actually, I think I was in Birmingham, Alabama. I did one, and it was a bunch of probably high schoolers, maybe junior high, and they were probably 15. And it was in a themed kind of 1950s Army Area 51 kind of room.
Okay.
And so all the technology there were like, gas mask, very old and such. And we had a cassette tape player. And these kids were like, I don't know what to do. We had the tape, we had the machine, and they're like, we don't know. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, no.
There's no touch screen on it. How do you operate it?
I
But
can't believe it.
I believe the back half of that story, Karen, was that you put the tape in and it wasn't immediately just like da-na-na-na-na-na, and you were like, dial 867-5309 on the telephone right now.
It was. You put the tape in and it started playing Jenny. And of course everybody's like, what do we do? We're like, we gotta dial the
867-5309. Come on, man.
Imagine being the kid in that room who literally just hears a guitar lick, and Karen immediately tells you to dial a certain number on the telephone.
Yeah.
Like, how do you have no idea what's going on?
Brainwashed by a foreign army. It's like she hears a musical note and there's a code that she spits out. Yeah.
That's right.
Wonderful. And Colin and Dana, you've been left out of all this escape room talk. They obviously don't invite you.
No. We've been invited, but we've also heard the ice bucket story, and it's terrifying. And it's like, oh no, I'm going to ruin this game for them. I'm going to stay out of the way. So I've only gone 3 times to an escape room with my mom, who is terrible at escape rooms, but really likes doing family events. And luckily, my brother-in-law is really good at solving puzzles, so we've won each of them. But with no help from my parents at all.
I having met Dana's mom, I can picture her there just being like, you know what? I don't care if we escape as long as everyone has a good time.
That's exactly word for word what she says. And she's like, I'm glad we're just making memories. This is great.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I don't think I'm exaggerating to say that probably 99% of everything I know about escape rooms comes from Chris and Karen. Yeah, just their stories. I think I did one years ago, and it was one of those things like I get really agitated if I'm in a group with non-friends or people I don't know. Like you say, it was not a good situation for me. I'm very competitive, and it's like there's a weird line where you can't yell at like strangers and their children, so
you can't. Are you sure? I think you can.
My most recent escape room experience actually was 100% virtual. My work shortly after we went into lockdown quarantine over here. Yeah, we did a kind of a team building thing online. So we did a pure 100% over Zoom escape room, and that was fun, and that was with people that I knew and could at least collaborate with. But yeah, we run the range here in terms of experience.
Perfect.
Oh, lovely. The other element of this show is that it's escape rooms mixed with a sort of tabletop role-playing style. What are all of your tabletop role-playing experience? Are you all big Dungeons and Dragons fans?
Yeah, actually, this is the
Dana,
part where
yeah.
it's like I have a lot of. I've been doing it for over 10 years now. So
Nice.
when I used to work in video game companies, and so people would play at lunch. So I did lunchtime role playing, and then
Nice.
and then after like our office closed, we still meet every weekend to play. So we did Pathfinder, like a 4-year Pathfinder session.
Nice.
And now we're on to Starfinder.
Oh, cool.
Lovely.
This sounds very Berkeley and artsy, but I was involved with a game called Nobilis, and
Ooh.
you played basically a god of a certain domain. You get to choose your
Ooh.
domain. And I believe I chose biology because I'm so cool. And other people had I'm the god of like something badass, and I was like, oh, I'm biology. And so the role playing is like I can control things that are related to biology and in these different scenarios by GM. There wasn't really a system. Maybe there was, but the system was very subjective versus like, oh, this monster has a rating of this, and then we need to roll these dice, and I kind of like that better. But give things a try. It was with my very free-spirited friends.
I've always been very D&D and role and RPG adjacent in my friend group. So I've never been a hardcore player myself. Some of those sessions that Dana mentioned at our old work, we used to work together, Dana and Karen and I would sit in at lunch, and just because I like to just watch the teams play. And in particular, I was always really fascinated by whoever's running the session. Like I love the thought and the world building and the planning that goes into it. I don't even need to necessarily play as part of the party myself to appreciate it. Yeah, so I've been around a lot of D&D and GURPS players and some other just various systems over the years. Yeah, but it's always been kind of something I've more spectator sport for me. So, but I definitely feel like I've absorbed a lot of knowledge.
All
right.
Lovely. And Chris,
do you have any tabletop role playing experience?
No, I tried it once. And it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. It wasn't my thing. They say it's like a gateway into like devil worship, right? I got way into devil worship. And had to
you
reel
took the
that
wrong
sucker
thing
in.
away from it.
Right, yeah, I think so.
You just
Could have been the
skipped
people I
straight to the
played with who were Satanists. But seriously, no. I actually did like play like two. Like a friend set up a D&D campaign. I did it for 2 weeks and was like, I don't know. It just wasn't my thing. But I mean, obviously, all the friends that I've had throughout my life, I've had like a million different opportunities to do it because like seems like everybody else is into it, including all these guys.
All right, we should get into the room. We should just get straight into it.
Yeah,
I think.
we got to finish this bad boy.
We got to actually play. Tanny, would you like to whisk us away to a world of adventure?
Everyone feeling ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You step into the elevator. You press the button for the top floor, and the doors close behind you. You exhale and remind yourself of exactly what you've been told.
I've been exactly where you are.
The stranger said to you after steering you away from the party.
Quite some time ago now. The whole show, the whole escape. Some details were different. The guy who played my boss retired, so you got a different Mr. Howe. And we all get a different Blake, for obvious reasons. Our own special, personalized love interests. The idea of more people going through this made me sick. but I was on my own. I couldn't do anything about it. Then, at the end of the next person's term, I figured out a plan. Went back and found some of the old me's, gathered up the new ones, and we worked out what we needed to do. Unfortunately, we haven't had much luck so far. But watching you, we hope you'll be the trump card we've been waiting for.
He introduced you to the other U's, 8 more of them, making 9 people who were all forced into an escape room with a boss named Mr. Howe, who struggled to unlock their wedding cake, who left a fiancé named Blake, who put together an elaborate escape plan with help from a Leilani, who found themselves promoted from inadvertent TV star to take this money and shut up. 9 people, very sick of pretending to be fine with what happened to them. 9 people who have watched you for years, waiting for you to join them. And they explain the plan. Wait until the night before your final season is supposed to premiere. All the production company will be working hard, getting everything in order for the big day, praying it'll get done in a timely manner so they won't have to go too deep into overtime. Your allies will cause a distraction, setting off an evacuation alarm, forcing them all out. And that's when you'll enter, unseen. And mess everything up, you ask your new friends? If that's what they are.
Not at first. These people know what they're doing. A few small glitches here and there they'll be able to put right. We need to get everything in one fell swoop. And there's one key to doing that. The Central Command Unit.
The Central Command Unit, you learn, is the master machine that basically controls the show's operation. It processes the recordings, the music, the paychecks, everything is kept in there. And it has one big delete all option. But it needs to have everything uploaded to it before you delete. Otherwise, they may be able to salvage something. That's why we're waiting until the last minute, hoping that they'll have already finished all the work and you can just walk in and press a button. But if they haven't, I'm sorry, you may have to actually do some of their job for them first. Get all the information into that CCU and then destroy it all. It's hard to trust anyone, but you do not think you're being lied to about this. So, you step out of the elevator into a narrow hallway. Immediately at the opposite end, you spot your goal, the Central Command Unit. It's right there. And it's got a glass wall and door in front of it, which look very much locked. Well, I mean, you've still got to make sure that all the show's data and records are where they're supposed to be anyway, so no rush. There's a single door to your left and to your right. And right beside the elevator doors is a box labeled Complaints. Well, this is it. It's time to take control.
Oh, we should check the door we came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned that from Dana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good when people have listened. All right, you turn straight around, you look at that elevator. You don't need to go back inside. You know that there wasn't anything extraordinary in there. But from the outside, you take a look. And the most interesting part about it is it's got those little light-up numbers above the doors that tell you what floor the elevator is on. Though these ones definitely must be broken, because a whole bunch of them are lit up at once. You see the 1, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 8, and the 9, all lit up.
All right.
Hey,
thinking.
all right.
Are there any buttons or anything like that, like on the elevator, or anything we can interact with?
Theoretically, you could get straight back in and leave again, but something tells you it's probably not quite the time.
Okay.
What floor are we on?
Are we on the 9th floor? Is that safe to assume?
I think somewhere in my notes I may have said 10th floor, but it clearly doesn't matter too much.
All right.
Okay.
All right, let's check the suggestion box.
Yeah, I agree.
Complaints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Complaints.
Suggestion box. Such a nice way of putting it. Bill, you ready with this? So the box itself, nothing too exciting, but the lid comes off easily, and inside you see 3 small pieces of paper, 3 complaints. So you take them out, and you have a read of them one by one, and when he is ready, Bill is going to send those to you.
Yes, so for anybody at home, you can see there's a link to these complaints in the show notes below. But Colin, would you like to read at least the first complaint? You can maybe take it in turns.
I'll be happy to read the first one. Okay. Date, 15 December. Department, editing. Tape storage. Everyone has to be more careful with the tapes of old episodes. We still use them! They're vital for flashbacks, reshoots, continuity checking, etc. There are some that would cripple the show if they were lost. Put all SD cards back in boxes immediately after viewing. Better yet, transfer data off them and onto the CC.
Date, 16 December. Department, IT. Ray, LCD. Having problems with the LCD uploads. It wants us to upload past and present data to make the display work, and this automatically uploads to CC? This is a huge risk. If one thing gets corrupted, we could lose everything. Please remove requirement for past data.
Interesting. This could corrupt everything.
Dana, you want to do the last one?
Sure. Okay. Date 18 December. Department security passwords. I'd have thought by now everyone here was sick of sticking puzzles, puns, and riddles where they don't belong. But now they're all over this office. It's not funny and it's not appreciated by anyone. Okay. So the passwords are puns and riddles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, rape. Oh, passwords. Smart. Yeah, so it says the subject line is passwords, and then there's stuff about sticking puzzles, puns, and riddles where they don't belong, and it's in the security room. Okay, so is there anything on the complaints box that's like if we flip the complaint box over, is there anything on the bottom of it? You know,
All
stuff
good.
on the back of it, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
You find an Allen key.
You're all good. You have exhausted the complaints box.
Okay, so there were doors on either side of the hallway, door to our left, door to our right. Are there nameplates? Are there nameplates on those doors that we can see?
Yeah, like departments or
Yeah.
something.
Absolutely. Which one would you like to look at first? Left or right? That was very certain. All right, the door on the left, it's made of light, basically just transparent glass. There are words embossed on it, and it's the Peak Conference Room.
PEEK?
Peake. That's more how people spell it as a
Yeah.
name, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty namey.
Okay.
You ever wonder who Peak is? And it's probably just some guy who donated way too much money to keep this show going. Therefore,
Yep.
probably someone you don't like very much. You take a look at the door handle, but it doesn't move. It's locked, and it looks like it wants a 5-digit combination to open.
Five numerical digits. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Before we look at that, can we look at the other door and just see what it says on that door first?
Oh, yeah. So this door, it doesn't have embossed writing on it quite the same way. First of all, you notice that right up the top above it is the word studio, and it's got one of those big red lights that TV or radio stations have that let you know when people are recording inside. It's off right now, thankfully. No one's in there. And you've had more than enough of red lights shining in your face. This door, not only is it also locked, it's locked with 3 locks, each of which requires a 4-letter combination to open.
Whoa, letters.
Now, there is a sheet of paper taped to this side of the door, and it appears to be for teams of workers to write their team names down to reserve use of the studio. And at the moment, there are 3 teams written down there.
Okay.
The first one is called Team Equal and Light.
Equal and light.
LIGHT.
Yep. And then the second team is called Team Stern and Middling.
Okay.
And then the third team is Team Caring and Type. TV people have weird names.
Okay. So
Oh, should we look at the central command door?
The Central Command Unit. It's protected by this thick wall of glass. It looks itself, it's a bit like when a 1960s sci-fi movie wanted to portray a fancy computer. So it's huge, tall, broader than you, all silvery, all buttons. There's a keyboard, bunch of lights, and a small black screen in the very center. You take a look at this glass wall that's cutting you off from it, and there is a door built into it with a digital lock on it, locks everywhere. The lock says, Command Center Hallway, enter hallway access code. And it looks like it wants 6 digits. All right, so you've officially found all of the problems.
Okay. Well,
Danny, can we look at the ground? Anything on the ground? Anything in the ceiling?
Good idea. In this hallway, nah, nothing interesting.
Oh,
Okay, so that's we've now seen everything in this hallway. There's just 2 doors, one on either side. The computer's at the one end, the elevator's at the other end. There's a complaints box.
Yep, you have successfully observed everything in the hallway.
can I share to the team some thoughts? Not strategy. I'm just gathering thoughts, and I invite everybody else to do the same. So on the left side door, the Peak conference room. I part of me is like Peak might be missing letters that would have spelled a real word. Speaker conference room, something like that. I don't know. It seems like we have a lot of themes about or puzzles or information about like missing digits or missing letters since like we have the elevator thing. My other thought, I haven't really had a chance to really think about it, but the team, equal and light, stern and middling, caring and type. It could be synonyms for both things. It could be like connector words that they share. And it's 3 teams on the right side, the right door, 3 codes. It might correspond to that.
Yeah, that was the first thing that came to my mind. Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, connector words, Karen, was the first thing that popped into my mind. Yeah, equal and light, stern and middling, caring and type. Yeah, that they're both paired off with some third word, or that there's a common transposition, some sort of thing like that.
Yeah, and each one is a 4-letter word.
Right, exactly. It just seems like the 3 and the 3, right, would match. That was sort of where my brain went. Caring and type. What a strange pairing of words. The others seem more like equal and light. Okay, stern and middling, but caring and type, that's kind of an oddball one, isn't it?
Type, font, genre, kind. Oh, kind.
There you go. Kind.
Wow,
caring.
talking does
there we
help.
go.
You guys are so
There we go. Okay.
Talking helps.
Yep.
You type in the word kind into that bottom lock, and a green light shows up. That one is unlocked.
Okay.
Equal.
Oh, how about fair?
Fair.
Equal,
Yeah, I
like
was just gonna say
FAIR.
fair. Yeah, right.
You stick that one in, another green light.
Stern and middling.
What does middling mean?
Like average.
Mean.
There it is.
Mean. Yeah.
Oh,
You put mean in, and the third light lights up. The door handle will now turn to let you in.
Let's go in.
Yay!
Let's go in the right
Very
door.
good.
All right. What you enter is probably as you expected. It's a small, audience-less TV studio. In the very middle, there's a large rounded desk for presumably the host to sit at. And there are 2 chairs for guests beside that. Behind the big desk is a large LCD screen. 2 cameras are pointed towards the set, one of which has an auto cue set up beside it.
what is an auto cue?
Oh, an auto cue. Yeah,
Teleprompter.
that's fair. Different words.
Sometimes things get regional.
So yeah, finally, after that teleprompter, and over to one side, there's a huge display board with a bunch of words, numbers, and percentage symbols. They remind you of something you've seen on gambling ads, just a betting board.
Oh, okay.
When we look at that display board with the numbers and symbols and things like that, is it anything we can make out? Does it just seem like random numbers and symbols?
Well, the numbers seem a little random. There's just lots of percentages, and you assume it has something to do with betting. When you actually start to read these sentences, you can tell, and perhaps you should have noticed this, it's all about you and your TV show. You see some disjointed sentences. Like the very first one says, yell at boss, 55%. And then drop wedding cake, 64%. And that's when you start to say, okay, the audience got to vote on what they thought I would do every episode. Little insulted by the 64% for drop wedding cake, but okay. And so you keep having a read of the rest, and they're all very familiar things that either did or almost happened. Fight with your future in-laws, 90%. Find secret room, 37%. Get arrested, 23%. Set fire to wedding certificate, 50%. Eat popcorn, 85%, presumably from the time you were in the movie theater. Set off alarm, 41%. And then the last one makes you frown for a moment. Have galiophobia, 33%.
Whoa. We
You
like
have to-
that.
Yeah, you have to stretch your memory, but you may know what it means.
Wind?
Galiophobia.
Phobia.
G-A-L. I mean,
Galeo.
G-A-L-E-O.
Karen, I
Can-
think
can
this
we
is
just-
your domain.
Yeah.
It would be
It's-
Greek.
It's sharks.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Galiophobia. Okay.
All right.
Okay. That was in the water episode.
Oh, because there was
Yeah.
the mechanical shark.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
mechanical shark.
So these were all things that people thought might have happened in your previous episodes, presumably because they've seen this happen before in previous episodes. So they were trying to see how you do compared to the other ones.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, can we look at the door we just came in?
Sadly, the look at the door rule seems to only be interesting in the hallway. On this side of the door, there's
Just checking.
nothing there.
Good,
Okay.
good
Well, we
to
got a
check.
bunch of stuff in the room. So there's two chairs. Anything with the two chairs that is not chair-like or that we might want to check out?
Kinda, actually. So these two chairs sitting next to the host desk, they're angled so that the camera can catch their faces so they can have a good conversation. They look like they're the same basic design, but they're very different from one another. One of them, perfectly normal chair. You would be happy to sit in it. The further out one from the host desk, you don't even know if you could sit in it. It is high and it is narrow. It is not designed for you.
Oh,
Okay.
there's a giant.
Well, it would have to be an extraordinarily beanpole giant if it were.
It's Slender Man.
It is
He's Slender Man.
That's the answer to this whole puzzle.
a
It was
slender man
Yeah.
may be able to fit in it.
I was picturing a ventriloquist dummy is what I
Or
pictured.
that.
But, that may not be what I'm
No,
supposed
that
to
that
Yeah.
also that
Also
also
creepy.
does sort of it also does sort of fit like what you are picturing for the chair's proportions.
Like a bird perch. Or like who, yeah. Okay, can we inspect the desk? Like what's on the desk?
Hmm.
Yeah.
This desk, it's basically all clean, spotless. All it has on it is one fancy laptop. It's on, but it's not logged in, so of course it wants a password. And you unabashedly click on the hint button that it's showing there. And it says that the hint is guest 2.
Guest 2. All right. So
Well-
seems like that corresponds to the perhaps not normal chair. That would be guest 2, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And possibly the auto cue. So maybe we should inspect the auto cue to see if anything is displayed on that or anything's going on with that.
Yeah. Is it powered on or is it manual? Can
Uh,
we see what the script is?
You can absolutely turn it on and some big words pop up on it. The date up the top, quite recent. Now, the one problem is there must be some weird way to make it scroll that you don't really understand. So you can't get further up or down. You can just see the words that are right in front of you. But that's okay. They might be helpful words. Who knows? So what you read is, thanks to our guests, but enough about next season. Now let's drop in on our current star. I know you have a lot of burning questions. Let's get ourselves all caught up.
Creepy.
Well, that certainly sounds like the host's script. So,
Burning
but
questions. I wonder if it's related
Yeah.
to fire or something with with that thing with fire that happened.
And importantly, it says thanks to our guests, but enough about next season, which means that if we're going to figure out who the guest number 2 is, it must have something to do with the next season of the show. So
maybe
somebody who can speak to that. So
Did
I'm trying
we-
to figure out who the second guest was.
And since all the seasons are the same.
Oh yeah. I was gonna. Yeah. So Dana, I mean, depending on how long the seasons of the show are, like, do we start with a child? Is that seat for?
It doesn't look unchild-sized. Definitely, it would have to be a very small child, but not impossible.
So, there's 2 cameras, and each one is pointed at one chair, right?
Not exactly.
Oh.
So one of the cameras is pointed more or less at the host desk, and it looks like that one would get the guests in it as well. The other one is actually pointed at that betting board.
Oh, it's pointed at the betting board. Okay.
Can we play with the camera?
Yeah. Which one would you like to play with?
Let's do the one at the chair, at the guest.
Yeah, sure. All right. So you take a look at it. These are sort of powered on and everything. So you press a few buttons to try to figure out what you're doing with it. Annoyingly, it's sort of stuck on the, hey, you want to record something now option. And you're not sure if you want to do that because you don't know what's on here. And you're trying to press the back button to change to any other settings. It seems like it's broken. So that one you can't actually do too much with.
How else can we get into this laptop?
Did we check the LCD screen? There's an LCD screen there, that's not the betting board.
Behind us, right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a big screen. It looks like it has its power on. It's not displaying anything right now, except for just in one of the corners, the small words, waiting for upload.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was referenced in one of the complaints. It talks about having problems with the LCD uploads. It wants us to upload past and present data to make the display work. So that may be something we have to just use later.
Yeah. Can we inspect the other camera looking at the betting board?
So this one, hey, it actually seems like it's working a bit better. You can actually press back and you find yourself in a big index of all the recording files. Quite a lot. And just because, why not? Seems to make sense. You open up the most recent one and you let it play for a couple of minutes. Yeah, that's the betting board, all right. This is actually clearly the boring footage. Maybe someone's talking about it off camera. They've got a voiceover or something talking through the statistics. But yeah, there is nothing much to look at. It just looks exactly the same as it does in person.
What about the other files in the index?
There's a lot to go through. In fact, should you choose to go back through them, you find one that looks like a pretty recent one, and it's very similar, except the betting categories are different when you go back. Because presumably it's for an older season. The whole wedding escape stuff wasn't happening yet, so they were very different events. And they're a lot more generic. You may not need them until later, though. So if you're getting like an information overload, we can always wait on it.
We'll come back.
Cool.
And so so both cameras had some sort of data in them. Can we? It's talking about uploading things to the LCD or taking.
These cameras don't seem to have that. Annoyingly, there must be some sort of intermediary. Like perhaps it goes into a computer and then the computer does the upload.
Oh, interesting. So the camera, we can't take cards or anything like that out of the cameras. Okay.
Not as far as you can tell.
Okay.
This Slender Man chair freaks me out. I don't like what.
I think we need to dwell more. Yeah.
So guest number 2, we think, is the Slender Man chair, right? And they said that that the thing is full of puns, and the teleprompter is like burning questions. Like it feels like a pun to something. And on the display board, on the betting board, there is stuff about fire and other things. I wonder if 50%. That's related.
Okay, so I mean, just as a reminder, so there was the other conference room that had a 5-digit numerical code that it wanted. We have the light up numbers on the elevator. There were 6 numbers that were lit. And I mean, we also have the complaints.
Do you remember a specific detail about the left door?
It was glass. It said the peak conference room, which we thought might be speaker conference room.
Oh, if we look inside, can we look inside the room through the glass?
You can absolutely look through the glass.
Let's go press our grubby little faces up against that glass.
Good thought, Dana. Thank you.
So you peek through that glass. It's pretty clear. You get a decent view of stuff. You can't see absolutely everything in perfect detail, but you got a pretty good chance. All right, so there's a big conference table in the center with some chairs around it, as there probably should be. Behind that is a huge graph that's sitting on an easel facing you. You look over to the right side of the room and there's a huge map of the world hanging on the wall. And then you look at the left and you see a corkboard with a bunch of photos on it. And then just somewhere on the floor, you see a big old stack of thin boxes that look very much like they might contain tapes, DVDs, something of that nature.
What does the graph look like?
The graph, from what you can read, it's titled Top Online Viewer Numbers Per Live Stream. Okay, again, it's about you, clearly. So it's just one big red line on the graph, starting in the bottom left corner, doing a lot of zigzags. There's one really high point, a couple of really lows. It's actually a depressing number of lower middles.
They didn't enjoy my pain.
Are there any on the map of the world? Are there any pins in the map or ribbons or any sort of markations of any kind?
All right, so as far as you can see, the map, it covers basically the entire wall. It's the entire world map, every country. You think you can see, it's a little hard from here because it's very small to try to fit everything in. You think that every country has its name on it, and there's something else going on there. Maybe it's a pin? You can see something. You can't tell what it is, but it looks like there's something beside like every country name. But you might have to wait until you get inside to see exactly what that is.
All right. Okay. What about, let's look left and the corkboard with pictures and photos and such.
So you can't tell too much about the exact nature of the photos from here. What you can see is two big words at the very top of that board that say casting Blake. And Blake is the name of your fiancé, and it gives you a bit of a funny jolt to realize they're auditioning for the role of fiancé for the next cast.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if one of those people is goes in the high chair, like for next season.
Anything on the stack of thin boxes?
You can't see too much about them from here. Another wait until you get in.
Yep. And anything we can see on the table and chairs?
The chairs don't look very interesting at all. They're just slightly askew as if people left in a hurry, which, great, that was what you were hoping for. And on the table, it looks like there's a collection of iPads or similar tablets. But again, can't tell much about them at this stage.
Can't tell much about them, yeah.
Yeah, we got to get in there.
Yeah, really, it's just that graph is big enough that you can see in amazing detail. Everything else, not so much.
Okay. So, I mean, there's numbers on the graph?
Yeah.
What do we see as far as numbers on the graph?
Oh, is there anything in particular you'd like to look at? Because it's a pretty long graph. There are lots of numbers.
The biggest peak.
There is one single big peak, and that is at 89,500 viewers.
Okay, so we try 89500 as the 5-digit code.
Yeah.
On this
that's
left
the peak
door?
of the chart.
Yes.
Peak!
It's the peak of the chart, yeah.
Dana.
Well, Chris.
The door opens. You did it.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Now you can explore properly.
All
Okay,
right.
let's look at the map.
So the map, exactly as you said before, every country has its name, and now you can see that it wasn't a pin on every country. It was actually a number that's also there. Every single country has a number. As far as you can tell, they're random. You don't see any pattern connecting them. You try connecting the dots, but it's really hard when there are like almost 200 of them, and it doesn't look like it makes anything. Yeah, you can't see a direct pattern with those numbers.
Okay, we're probably going to find something with a bunch of countries or languages match, and then get the number from the match.
Translate over to the language.
Sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure.
Can we look at the
let's take a look at this cork board. Yeah, let's see if there's anything other than these Blake photos.
Yeah, this is a biggie. Okay, so there are, first of all, rows of photos, like a whole bunch per person. It's like you've got, I think there were 8 people, and each of them has a collection of photos themselves, like the production wanted to see them in various poses. And they're kind of strange, not quite what you'd have thought. Like, the very first photo has each person dressed up like a certain 50s high school musical themed movie with interesting hairstyles.
Grease.
Yeah, it very strongly resembles that. Then the second lot of photos, they're all sitting with a very traditional Thanksgiving dinner in front of them.
Okay.
Feast.
I wonder if
the
these are
next-
mapped into countries on the map. Like the
Oh,
first
then
one's
the
Greece.
Oh, Greece,
Mhm.
Turkey.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Greece, Turkey. Okay, yep.
All right, now the next one has the actor solving a possibly unbranded puzzle cube.
Okay, so like
Rubik's
a Rubik, yeah.
It might be a Rubik, but you can't be sure. if it
Sure,
was an
okay,
original
sure,
or not.
sure, sure.
All you've got is it's a cube.
Okay.
Cuba.
Cuba.
There you go.
Yeah.
There it is.
Greece, Turkey, Cuba.
All right, next one. They're standing in the rain outside a bar.
Bahrain.
Nice.
Next one, they're just walking through a door.
Door and entry, walk in, enter.
Ecuador? No.
That's good too.
Um,
There's more than one country with door in it. Billy, why didn't you catch that in playtest?
No,
El Salvador.
Ecuador?
Oh man, there are so many doors. Why did I not notice these America's doors?
The point is, all there is in this photo is a door.
A door. Yeah.
Okay.
A door.
Door.
Walk the door, enter the door, door frame.
Dora the Explorer.
Dora.
Okay, a door or
Walking.
something.
I'm blanking. Something door. El Salvador, Ecuador, door or something.
That is totally fair. It turns out there are multiple door countries
Yeah.
that weren't playtest picked up on. My favorite door country, as it turned out, was Andorra.
Oh, goodness.
I
Oh,
wouldn't
okay,
have
okay.
gotten that.
Mm.
There is a door. Door,
Yeah.
if your grammar is bad, there is an door.
Perfect.
Andorra.
Andorra. Yeah.
But yeah, getting Ecuador and El Salvador, that totally counts.
I go to the complaints
Oh.
box.
There's still
I take out a piece of paper.
So the second last photo, each person is putting a mouthful of very spice-filled food into their mouths.
Chile.
Chile.
And in the final photo, each actor is pointing to their chin.
China?
Thinking.
No.
Is it China? Is it China? Chin?
Jenna.
China?
That's the
It
one.
is China.
Ah.
Okay.
All right. Now, just to overload you even more with this, fantastic. Now, at the bottom of this board, you also find that there's a bit of a stack of paperwork that's got names and a few facts about each of these actors.
Well,
Well, let's get these numbers from the map.
yeah, that's I was gonna say let's if before we do anything else, let's get our list of numbers here.
Your geography is pretty good, so it only takes you a couple of seconds to go through the countries.
Damn right.
So, Greece. Greece has a little number 21.
Uh-huh.
Turkey has a little number 14. Cuba, a little number 1. Bahrain, a 9. Andorra, Ecuador, El Salvador, a number 18.
Nice.
Okay.
Chile, a 5. And China, a 4.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
And that would be.
Keep these handy.
This is probably a word. So 20.
Makes
Let's
sense.
see. T is 20. Z U.
Something ED.
You're lining the numbers up with the alphabet?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the solution is unaired.
Yes.
Seems
Unaired.
strangely relevant to what you're doing.
Unaired episode. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay.
Mhm.
Not really anywhere to input that right now, so
Not
maybe
right
that's
now,
a
not right now.
squirrel it away thing.
All right.
Let's look at this stack of paper while we're here.
So you can see there's a link there to have a look at these papers. And for anybody at home, you can also see this full thing in the show notes below. But Karen, I don't think you got to read one of the complaints. Would you like to start having a read through some of this? Describe what you're looking at for our audience at home.
I am looking at square proportion mugshot, not mugshots, profile photos of people, headshots, I guess they're
Mugshots.
called. And there's information about each one. For example,
And
the first-
just Just for fun, you can say whatever you want about these people because this is from one of those fake people generator websites.
I was going to guess
So
that.
you're not-
You know
yeah.
what? I was going to guess that they just something about it. I just had it set off my procedurally generated human alarm.
So they're
which I got him for Christmas.
very handy. So there are 8 of them, 8 entries. And for example, the first one has meta information such as name, Benjamin, age 25, education, major physics, favorite hobby is ant farms, a red flag, closest person, dad, Jacob. And I'll read the second one. I won't read all of them. I'll read the second one.
Yeah.
Name Lena, age 31, education major mathematics, favorite hobby skiing, closest person is school friend Alex. This is kind of, to me, feeling like a logic puzzle grid deal. Maybe not.
Oh, maybe we'll get pointed towards like one of these people at some point, or 2 of these people, or something like that, rather than have to use all of these things. But I'll read the next 2. Next, the third person, name Rose. She's a blonde-haired woman. Age 36, education major music, favorite hobby jogging, closest person twin sister Abigail. Next person, name Tamara. Age 37, education major astronomy, favorite hobby video games, closest person daughter Brooke.
Okay, and then the next 2 people, the first one's named is Nicole. She's 28. Her education major is Greek. Favorite hobby is abseiling. Closest person, baby brother Steven. And then the next person's name is Toby. He's 30. His education major is civil engineering. His favorite hobby is cryptocurrency. He looks like somebody who would be into cryptocurrency. And then the closest person is his best friend Joel.
And then we have the last 2 here. We have Caleb, age 38, education major English. His hobby is cooking, and he's close to his older brother Luke. And then the last person is Megan. She's 29, education major architecture. Favorite hobby is sleeping. I really feel you on this one, Megan. Yeah, same. And her closest person is her roommate, Kelly.
Okay. Doesn't seem like there's anything like right now we can do with this. We could probably still keep looking at this room. So let's see. We looked at the I think the map, the graph, the corkboard, and the photos. There's a stack.
We need to look at those iPads. Let's look at these iPads.
Okay, iPads on the table. iPads on the table.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so these iPads, you press them. There are 7 of them altogether, and you turn them on. Hey, these ones do not need a password. That's a relief compared to everything else. So they open right up, and every single one of these 7 opens up on the exact same thing, which presumably is what they were working on before their meeting was so rudely interrupted. And so that's one picture that is going to be sent to you. This one's a bit of a quicker one than the others.
Again, for people listening at home, this you can see this in the show notes below. But would one of you like to read out what we're seeing here on these iPads?
Okay. So everybody was looking at this. It was a checklist. It was.
There we go. So
female
we're doing like a matrix.
Yeah. So female presented. Each of these, there's 5 items. Each of them has a green check mark next to in the checkbox. Female presenting. If dark hair, less than 35 years old, or less than 35. If close with family, likes outdoors. If older than 30, STEM qualified. If likes indoors, dark hair. So all of these qualifications for, I'm guessing, the next Blake must have been fulfilled because they all have green check marks next to them. Therefore, we have to find the person on the audition photos for which all of these things are true.
So far, Lena is looking good because she has dark hair. She is under 35, and she's over 30, and she did mathematics for her. Yeah. Yep. And so she didn't say that she's close to her family, but that doesn't seem mandatory.
Yeah.
It says if she is close to family, she likes the outdoors, but she's not close to their family, so that's fine.
Yeah, and if she likes indoors, she has dark hair. She does.
Yeah.
Right. And then again, that doesn't exclude her.
Yeah.
So, and then let's
Right.
go down. Oh, if dark hair. Okay, so I assume. So, what does it mean by female presenting? Does that mean like we're only looking at the female casting, or obviously
Exactly.
female? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
That's how I take it.
Rose does not qualify because
Why?
Rose is over the age of 30, but she is not STEM. So no.
Yep.
Get out
right.
of here,
Got
Rose.
it. Okay.
Right.
Tamara.
And Tamara.
It's
She
over
has-
35.
Oh.
Yep.
Nope, she's close with her family, but she doesn't like the outdoors. She's close to her daughter Brooke, but she does not like the outdoors.
Yeah, and
She
she
has
has
dark
dark
hair.
hair, but
And
is
she-
over 35 as well.
Sure.
So she's doubly out at least.
Nicole is under the age of 30, so it doesn't matter. She.
She's close
She-
to her brother Steven.
And she
What?
does like the
she abseils.
abseiling is like rappelling, rock climbing.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so
Okay.
Nicole
I don't know what that
qualifies.
is.
So she doesn't have dark hair, so it doesn't matter. She is close with her family, and she does like the outdoors.
Mhm.
She
Not
doesn't
over
say
here.
she likes the indoors, so it doesn't matter. And she's over 30. No, she's under 30. So it seems like Nicole also qualifies potentially.
Well, let's come
It
back.
does.
Isn't it just the way when it comes to casting that sometimes there can be multiple people who are perfect for a role, so they just have to
Mhm.
pick based on their favorites?
Okay. All right. So Lena and Nicole both technically qualify.
All right, last one, Megan. She doesn't have dark hair.
If she likes indoors, dark hair, so she's ruled out. Then I would say.
Yeah.
Oh, because her
This is-
favorite hobby is sleeping.
Okay. All right, great. Okay, so that means that Lena and Nicole both technically qualify for this.
Yeah. So then, who did they pick?
Who did they pick? Is there anything on the board? Do we see pictures of Lena and Nicole on the board? Because there's pictures of all of the actors.
Yeah, they totally had all of the hilarious poses as well.
Okay,
But
and there's nothing on the
nothing
board that
new.
indicates who they picked.
No, there isn't.
Okay.
Do
Let's.
you think the weird chair is for ski poles or skiing stuff? The skinny chair?
Oh,
Oh, baby brother Steven, closest person.
Oh, what if it's for
What?
babies?
What if they
Yeah.
were like? What if they were on the set? Right here's our next season's guest and her closest person, her baby brother.
Yeah.
weird.
Totally. But if you remember, the auto cue did say, all right, enough about next season. So there was
Mhm.
definitely some next season stuff happening
And that chair is both high and very small.
and possibly suitable
Oh,
for
is
someone
it
the
for a
size of a
child?
ventriloquist dummy.
Is it for a child, this high chair? Is it a high chair?
It's
It
a
very
high
much
chair.
looks like a child could comfortably fit in there if they were small enough.
Oh, I see.
All right.
So
Okay.
not the Slender Man.
I,
Yeah.
You know,
baby.
in my head, it was like it was literally a Slender Man chair, not a baby high chair.
I listened to too many episodes with the weird funhouse stuff happening. I was
Okay.
like, it's okay.
So I mean, if that's what we're supposed to figure out, that they went with Nicole and they had Nicole and her favorite person, their closest person was
Yeah,
the baby
yeah.
brother Stephen. If Stephen was guest number 2, then see the password on the
Steven!
flash. Can we go back? Stephen, yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
You type
So-
in Steven to that
We got-
laptop.
We ran over there real fast.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
You do that.
Uh-huh.
Laptop opens right up.
Okay,
that was the
wonderful,
password.
wonderful. Okay.
Okay, now you take a look at the laptop. There isn't much on here. Most of what you find is like plain text documents where the host, whoever they are, has written little on-air notes to themselves, like, oh, slow down here, make guest keep talking more. Nothing that seems important to you. Until you find a program that has been stowed away in an unlikely looking folder. A program called Data Master. That sounds good.
Sorry,
You open it up.
Garter
Data-
Master.
Sorry, Data Master.
Data master. It's a data master.
Data Master.
Hey, Data Master over here.
It's a
Walk in here.
Data master.
You open that one up and you find it is exactly the sort of thing you're after. It uploads and downloads data from other devices. And right
Okay.
now, it's set up to send all the show's statistical information between itself and the LCD. So you press the button that starts an upload, and the program gives you a message. that says, to proceed, please enter some of current season's 3 key statistic values. What? Okay, how are you supposed to know what the 3 most important statistic values are?
Okay. 3 key statistic values. So that implies a number, numeric.
Could it be
probably
3 key? Could it be the betting board? Like the poll numbers or the percentage numbers?
I think it's like the highest and the lowest numbers.
Well, it said enter
Any
some
3?
of the current season's 3 key statistic values. So like the most important ones is what you said?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
All right. Fight with in-laws, 90%. Arrested, 23%. Eat popcorn, 85%. Set alarm, 41%. Have galeophobia, 33%. Drop cake, 64%. Yell at boss, 55%. There is a secret room that I missed.
I think that was like find secret room, 41%.
Okay. I don't know how to tell which of those are the key values.
No.
That's the puzzle. That's what I'm looking for.
Fascinating.
I see.
Puzzle, you say.
Okay, all right.
A puzzle in my escape room.
Thanks to our guests, they were talking about. All right, so there's got to be something else.
Is it about the fire stuff, the burning? Yes.
Ooh, burning
so,
questions. The things that are
So
fire
50.
related.
Yeah. Alarm.
Would you like to hear what the auto cue says again?
Yes. Very much so.
Right. So it said, thanks to our guests, but enough about next season. Now, let's drop in on our current star. I know you have a lot of burning questions. Let's get ourselves all caught up.
Okay, drop in on our current. So drop the cake, right?
Okay.
Burning questions.
Set fire to the certificate.
And then all caught up.
You
Caught.
catch a shark.
Arrested? Being arrested.
Arrested. There you go. All caught up. Arrested.
Okay.
Yeah,
Caught a
that's
fish.
good.
So what are the numbers for that?
So arrested is 23. Drop cake is 64. And burning set fire is 50.
Bet you're happy you have the calculator now.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Carry the 9. And then find the emoji for this, which is 137.
You type that in, and the computer responds, key statistic values accepted. Please enter some of last season's key statistic values for confirmation. What?
Okay.
Well, we have those. We just look at the video.
Yeah, let's look at the video.
All right. Now you can look and take a closer look at that old betting board with the very different categories. Because, your escape hadn't started yet, so things to do with escaping, not really relevant. So this one has much more general things. Lose job, 32%. New love interest, 49%. Fight with Blake's parents. Okay, that one hasn't changed. 88%. All-day beach party, 20%. You did talk about doing that for your birthday. Huh. Go to hospital, 60%. Go back to school, 30%. Unexpected visit from relative, 75%. Pregnancy announcement, 20%. And alarmingly, taken hostage, 14%.
Oh, dear.
Uh-oh. Drop. Burn.
Drop. So, let's assume it follows the same pattern.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, drop, burn, caught. Let's
you
see
think
if it follows.
the beaches burn?
Yeah, that makes sense. You're at the
Makes
beach
sense.
all day. Sure. I like that.
Okay.
Unexpected visit
relatives drop in.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh,
there you
okay.
Go.
And then hostage for caught.
There you go. Sure. Okay.
So that's
Okay.
Some of it is, I believe, 109.
You put 109 into the laptop, and the message that pops up now says, data accepted, beginning upload. Fantastic.
All right.
You are getting stuff into that CCU, and it must have pretty good service here because it looks like the upload is complete in under a minute. And when you look at the LCD, it's now showing you something slightly different, and this is your last image for this room.
And for people listening at home, again, you can see this image linked below, but one of our lovely guests will describe it for you so you don't have to strain your eyes.
We have some arrows on the top that say, or that indicate down, down, up, and then it says in LCD letters, of course, upload start, numeral 8, upload end, numeral 4, and then below it at the bottom, we have arrows indicating down, down, up, down, up.
Yeah, the exact same arrows.
Yeah, they are.
Just-
Okay. Upload start.
Elevator?
Upload.
Numbers?
Oh,
No?
interesting. Interesting.
I feel like maybe there's something that we have to start and at like a map or like some sort of grid, and then we kind of go in spaces in different directions as we get to another destination. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, so the elevator, there's the 1, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9 are all lit. And it's
Right.
like, is it something about like starting on 8? And because of course all those numbers all represent floors.
Yeah, that
So
was
you
my
go
thought
up or down
too.
between floors.
Yeah.
Right? So like 8 and then like, I don't know, but like down,
So
down, up, down, up.
Oh, I see.
So, are we skipping 7 or are we going on 7 because it's not lit up?
Mhm.
Let's try skipping and see what
Okay,
that gives
okay.
us.
So
So if we follow the skip, it would be what? 8
to 6,
6
Mhm.
to
to
5
Mhm.
back to 6,
Six.
to 6
back to 5,
five.
5.
back to
6.
6. What a
Okay.
upload end. So
It says upload end 4, but I mean 8 and then it's like down, down, up, down, up. So if it's like 8 and then like, I guess that would give me 8, 6, 5, 6, 5, 6. If that's what we're doing. So I mean, could we try that on the access code to the CCU door?
The glass door thing, you try that. It doesn't work, sadly.
All right.
Yeah, that end 4 definitely seems like
Yeah.
the sticking point
Should
that isn't
end
really
on 4. Yeah.
following there.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So what here actually, group, help me with the
Uh-huh.
the kind of the more meta. We're on this laptop. We see this. Are we figuring out the code to the hallway door, or are we still within this laptop?
I think, okay, so what I believe that we are trying to do is we have the tapes of the old episodes. We have now uploaded stuff, I believe, to the CC. And the other thing we have to do is get those tapes of the old episodes and transfer the data off of them and onto the CC. So we have to bring them into that room. So I think right now what we are trying to do is to solve the 6-digit hallway access code to get into the CC room.
Yeah, okay. And we have 5 arrows, which implies, starting with a sequence of 5 additions, which gives us a total of 6 digits. So that
Yep.
seems to line up with what we're trying to get. So yeah, it feels like our challenge here is the route finding from 8 to 4 that jibes with those arrows. So, okay, how about this? Is there a sequence? It has to be up and down, but a unique sequence.
Okay, so 8 and then down is 6, and then down one more is 5, and then if you go up everything else, then it's 9, and then you go down, but you have to go to 4.
It has to end on 4. So if you go to 1, though, then
8,
you can
6,
come
5,
back up
9,
to 4.
1, 4. Okay, so we try 8, 6, 5, 9, 1, 4 in the door.
That glass door slides open
Gotcha.
soundlessly.
Yeah,
Okay,
you got
okay,
props
there we
to Dan
Yeah.
and Chris. I have no idea what you guys just did, but I trust you guys, and let's go.
No number can happen twice.
Right.
Oh, I thought it was one thing where like, oh, if you land on, then it's off, and then if you bump into it again, you have to turn it back on, and it's like those.
Yeah.
We leave the elevator and stride confidently to the complaints box.
Once again.
Write a sternly worded letter about numbers something, and then
December
walk
19th.
into the yes, and then once finished, walk to the glass wall and door of the CCU room and step inside.
All right, so I think what you really want to do, you just want to like sign your agreement to the last complaint saying get rid of all the puns and puzzles. This is stupid.
Oh, yes. Yeah, cosign.
Yeah, a +1. We all give a +1 on that.
Yeah. If this were
All
on
right.
Slack. Yeah.
You now have basically full access to this central command computer, and now you just have to figure out what to do with it. So you know that there'll be something that you can do to delete everything on here. But you also know you haven't got those tapes on here yet. And you take a look, and you can't see anything in this machine that looks like it would like insert any sort of tape. So there must be some remote way to do this or something. So it must actually be not right here that needs doing.
Okay, let's go check out the boxes in the peek room.
So this stack of tapes, it's heaps of little boxes. And you see now, they are all numbered. You got starting at number 1 and it goes all the way to the bottom. Again, almost 200 of these little boxes. And you pick up the top one, you open it up. Inside, there is a single SD memory card, just one of the little tiny ones. Annoyingly, there's nothing identifying about it, words or markings or anything like that. But yeah, that's what you've got. You now have almost 200 little SD cards numbered.
So, and that was referenced in one of our
It
complaints.
certainly
you know.
was. Yeah.
Put the
They have to
SD
put it back.
cards, put them back in the boxes, or better yet, transfer data off of them onto the CC. So we know
Okay,
that's
well,
what
let's-
we're trying to do.
Let's take our 200 SD cards and load them up in our hands and carry them into the CC room. So I mean, so let's take a look around the room with the CC in it.
Annoyingly, you don't see anything in this room that looks like an SD card would go in it.
Uh-huh.
It just doesn't look right for this. And also, all 200 of them, it seems like a pain. That doesn't seem like it's going to work. There must only be a small amount of these that are actually important.
Oh,
Let's go to
okay.
camera 1.
We take the ones that are actually important.
Whichever ones they may be.
Yeah.
Now, Dana, as for the cameras, it seems like these ones, these teeny tiny SD cards, you have a sneaking suspicion they came from all of the tiny spy cameras that have been watching you over the days, and not the kind that came from a studio camera.
Got
So they have different compatibilities.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Okay.
Well, is there anything we can do in the central computer room? Is there anything that looks interesting that we could interact with it?
It looks like the only thing that you'll want to interact with is the set of controls for when you want to delete stuff.
Okay.
And you
Okay.
don't want to do that just yet.
Can we put these SD cards in the iPads on the room in the peak room that we're in?
Those iPads on the back of them, they do have a little special slot for micro SD cards.
Okay, there we go.
All
But of
right, there we
course-
go.
There are only 7 iPads.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Does we still have unaired? That we haven't
Unaired.
done anything with?
UN.
Oh, we haven't used that. That's right.
And well, these SD cards, they're not lettered, but they are numbered.
So we want number
21,
21, number 14, number 1, 9, 18, number 5, number 4. If my notes are correct, well, at least
Yep.
it's a good
Yeah.
place to start.
Nice. Very fortunately, all of those numbers are quite low, so they're near the tops of the piles. You don't need to dig too deeply. You grab those boxes. All 7 of those SD cards are in there. Someone did do their due diligence, but that probably means they haven't deleted the footage yet. So you hurry them over to the tablets. You stick them in the SD card slots, and as you do, you look at each screen to see if it has anything interesting going on. For the first 6, there's nothing. But when you stick in the 7th one, suddenly a word pops up on all 7 screens that says syncing, SYNC. And they got the little loading symbol. They're syncing together. The system must have some way of recognizing when a bunch of good tapes are in at the same time. And then the loading screen finishes and it says memory transferred to command center hallway.
Oh, let's jog back.
All right. Last step, you are feeling good. You head straight up to that small screen and keyboard in the CCU. It reminds you of like an old DOS computer, but it must be even older than that. And it's waiting for you to type in some command. So experimentally, you type something in.
Ask the computer how I can locate the final Willy Wonka golden ticket.
I won't tell. That would be cheating.
That would be cheating.
You type that in, and it doesn't seem to understand, so it just throws back a very generic message at you that says, to access and submit commands, enter data code word.
Unaired.
Unaired. Yeah.
Unaired.
Unaired.
At long last, you've been sitting on this word for so long, and at last you get to type it in. The password is accepted.
Yay!
And a list of possible commands shows up on the screen.
Yeah.
At the very top is confirm episode release. And then there's a bunch of options for checking, moving various files, reversing things, and then right at the very, very bottom, delete content.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the briefest of moments, maybe you let yourself consider your options, whether maybe you could just take the program's money, disappear somewhere like they want. I mean, it'd be easier, less chance of some unfortunate legal trouble, and the crew of yous that is helping you out could try again next time after the next person's airtime is over, in however many years that would be. But yeah, that's fleeting. 9 people before you have been scarred by what this show put them through, and you are not going to let it happen to a single one after you. So you delete every goddamn thing.
Woo!
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Bzzz.
You have to get away quite far, quite quickly to avoid any sort of fallout. And then you have to learn how the real world works, the subtle differences between it and the fiction that you were raised in. Turns out there's more than one coffee brand in every town. Who knew? And, well, at least your work qualifications seem to have been authentic, so getting another job, while still not easy, it's not as hard as you dreaded. One night, months later, in your apartment, not a house, turns out those things are really expensive out here. You catch an ad for a new movie coming out, and one of the stars looks faintly familiar, and after some time it hits you. That's Nicole, that actress who was going to play the new Blake. Well, that confirms that the company wasn't able to pull the next season together at all after you deleted all their existing content, so they had to let the cast go off to do proper jobs. Maybe they'll be able to scrape something new again in the future, or maybe they'll decide the cost is too high. You'll be paying close attention just in case. But for now, you get ready to go to bed and you switch off all the lights. Every last one. And that is the end of the arc.
Oh, lovely.
Yay!
Goosebumps.
Oh.
Wow.
Escape This Podcast is part of Consume This Media. Head to consumethismedia.com for all of our projects. And make sure to tune in next week for Podcast This Escape, where we'll chat with our guests about this escape room.